Whew. Yo, we're gonna be covering Subnet 50 Synth. We're gonna see exactly what it is, what it does, what's the revenue model, how do they make money, is the subnet worth it, is it hype, is it a good buy? This is actually the first episode of a new playlist called Subnet Simplified. It's designed for you to understand what exactly are subnets, what are they doing, but simply explain for you to actually develop your own gut feeling and see if it's worth it to invest for you. And yo guys, let me know, do you like The Office? I'm starting to look like a real gamer out here, man. Let's get to it. So how can I dumb it down to the maximum for you guys? So basically this subnet is a decentralized network of miners which are like data scientists at this point because they're so tech savvy and they're good with numbers and finding patterns and things of that nature. And they're aiming to produce hedge fund grade level market predictions. So this subnet actually decentralizes Wall Street and turns quant tools, which are closed source, open for everybody to use and carve out their own trading edge. This is simply amazing, guys. If you're a retail trader in your basement, you can directly use their products, which are on their website completely for free, or even their API. So Synth actually helps you fight against Wall Street because they're decentralizing those quant tools and making them available for everyone. Whether you're a retail trader or even like a mid-sized hedge fund, or you're managing people's money, or you're a liquidity provider, or you need oracles, or you're an options trader, or you're a leverage trader, all of these people that I just named could find great usage with whatever data Synth can provide to them. But let me show you exactly how you right now, as an average Joe or a retail trader, can plug into their website and use their stuff. Let's go. So first off, head on to synthdata.co, and the most important parts are right here, dashboards. So you're gonna go here and you can directly see what Synth is actually building. So boom, the first one, miner predictions, you click on it and you can directly see the assets that the miners are submitting on. So Bitcoin, Ethereum, gold, and Solana. And these are just the different predictions. Each line represents one miner probably. So you can actually hover over it, left click with your mouse, and you can see on the top right here, we're checking the top miner, which is the most important data submittings. And you can see that around 7:32 p.m., Bitcoin was most likely to be around 114,000 or 113,000, things of that nature. You can do it for Ethereum as well. So that is super cool. So then you can use that data right here, head on over to TradingView for yourself and actually compare, with your own strategy, what you're doing paired with the Synth data. So that's an amazing use case. This dashboard right here is mainly for liquidity providers. They can use these graphs right here. They understand these numbers. And this chart is so cool, guys. So let me show you how it works. So on a 3% range on Bitcoin, that's represented by these numbers right here, 110,000 to 116,000. There's a 54% chance that Bitcoin exits that range, or actually remains in that range within the next 24 hours. So this is super important for people that want to park their cash within that 3% range, for them to be able to make the most amount of money with a narrow price spread, all guided by Synth's data. Another cool one would be for the options traders. This is an amazing use case. You have a very cool graph like that with use for information, such as with Synth calls, deribit call bid, deribit call asks, and Synth puts and all that. This is all golden information for people that have a lot of experience with options trading. They can pair their own strategies, with the dashboard right here to increase their edge. I really like this chart as well, volatility insight, because probably this number right here, for example, if Jerome Powell starts talking on an FOMC meeting, this number is probably going to increase, which is going to alarm, treasury managers. So people that have active opened positions can head on over to this tab right here and glance over the volatility indexes and, see how they could protect their positions. Lastly, I really love this use case, liquidation probabilities. So there's a graph right here, and there's a super cool dashboard once again. So right now, for example, if you're on a 33% X long, which states it right here, your liquidation price is most likely this, and you have a 3% chance of getting liquidated within the next 12 hours. You have a 10% chance of getting liquidated within the next 24 hours. So if you're on a 100x long, you have a 47% chance of getting liquidated within the next 24 hours if you're trading Bitcoin. The asset is right here. So once again, you can pair it with your own trading strategies and implement whatever suits you to increase your edge to the maximum. So if you want to implement AI automations or even AI agents trading for you, you can request their API. So if you scroll down to their website, you can see total rewards distributed, and it's actually crazy. Synth has distributed over $2 million since February of this year to around 200 miners, which are like data scientists at this point. They're so good with numbers, they're so good with patterns and AI models with trading that they've improved the model so much. So a Ridges type narrative, I definitely see this something as possible with this subnet and just building the best predictive tools possible in the world, all powered by Bittensor. Here, very clearly on their front page, you also once again see their use cases and for who it is. So it's for retail traders, institutional partners, people that trade with leverage, options traders. They have all sorts of graphs like I showed you, and for liquidity providers and automated market makers. So you clearly see that Synth has a wide range of different clienteles ranging from small to bigger clients. Let me help you picture how hard these miners are actually working. So every 5 minutes, they need to submit over 100 different price paths. And there's over 200 of those miners, which are like data scientists. And this ultimately gives Synth 160 million different data points for them to build products on top of when it comes to selling to clients, either hedge funds or retail traders or anybody. So like I said, the top miner earned over $250,000 in a couple of months. So the incentive bags are simply huge. I definitely see these miners being super ruthless, just like Ridges. And Synth is ultimately naturally going to be able to build the best AI-driven market predictions on the planet, all powered by Bittensor. This is purely the ethos of Bittensor and what we're actually trying to achieve. So I really love that about this subnet. It's music to my ears. These miners currently, they're scored in 2 different ways by validators. You both need to have quality submittings. So for example, you can't have submittings that are too far away from the actual price. So you need to be very close to the actual asset price within a given timestamp, all while trying to stay as consistent as possible for a long period of time. So as a miner, if you have 1 or 2 lucky strikes and your submittings are good, all right, that's fine. You're probably going to get paid. But you need to keep up that consistency for a long period of time for validators to actually consider yourself as a good miner and have a high incentive score. Currently, Synth is actually aiming to integrate the top 75 cryptocurrencies 1 per month. So miners will have an array of 75 different assets to do submittings on. And each of these integrations, they're charging 5 to 6 figures. So you can see that short term, this subnet can have great revenue, so they can be in the millions pretty quickly, which is also music to my ears. I always want to invest in subnets that have revenue, that generate cash, and that they can offset miner emissions. Because guys, miners, they do work really hard. They are the backbone of all of this. They need to dump alpha tokens to pay their expenses and be rewarded for their work. So the subnet, on a revenue search, I've heard they're going to implement buybacks with the revenue that they're making, which is awesome. And what's super cool, I went over their GitHub. They're actually forcing their miner to do something called probabilistic distribution forecasting, which is way above a simple prediction such as, oh, Bitcoin is going to be $100,000 tomorrow. Miners actually submit a wide range of possibilities with different types of odds within each possibility. So for example, they could say there's a 50% chance Bitcoin reaches between 110 and 115 by tomorrow. There's a 5% chance that Bitcoin crashes under 70K by next week. So these are the type of informations that the miners are submitting that are way above just like simple predictions for a given timestamp. What's actually amazing is that we're so early, and Synth actually set up an account on Polymarket with $2,000 inside of it. And they use their own data points generated and upgraded by the miners to execute 12,000 trades, wagering over $500,000 in trading volume in a particular asset. And their account grew by 110% on Polymarket. So guys, their account started at $2,000 and it ended up being more than $4,000, all with their public data. This is simply insane. Synth has skin in the game. They actually proved that their data points work and they can generate an edge. So their total addressable market cap isn't the biggest at the moment, and it's split up in two categories. So first off, their total addressable market cap is around a little under $50 billion. The first one would be the narrow market, which is around a $3 billion market. So hedge funds, traders, people that want high-end precise signals to the minute precise, they would buy these types of information or through their API or whatever. These type of people spend around $2.5 billion per year, but it's growing at above 10% per year. The next market would be like historical price feeds, oracles, and just general market data, which is a market of around $44 billion, and it's a broader type of market. This could be like oracles, like I said, price feeds, and things of that nature for, ecosystems and people that need to see graphs and charts and just prices in general. Less about predictions. So this market, like I said, is $44 billion and it grows at around 6 to 7% per year. But I still feel like this subnet, if they position themselves correctly and they're often posting on X, they could generate a ridges type narrative because they're helping other people make money. They're helping people carve out their edge. This is huge, guys. Predictions, gambling, trading will always be a thing. So, if you're a middleman for that, I feel this is something super valuable in the long term. So I'm definitely not scared about this subnet, especially when this is DSV's second largest positions, guys. They have over $800,000 invested in Synth, just behind Ridges, which is a bit above $1 million. I feel like this subnet was pretty pricey a couple days ago. It shot up like, I think, over 400% when DSV announced that they bought again 200,000. But now with the recent pullback, and it's around 0.01, I definitely feel like this subnet has a 2 to 10x potential, especially if there's more capital inflowing into dynamic Tau. And ultimately, sum of subnets needs to go up. If we stay at 1, as sum of subnets, it's going to be hard for this subnet to pull off a 5 or 10x. But if there's some mania phase and people start investing into subnets, I don't see why this couldn't make a 5 or 10x, especially when subnet 8 PTN during the crazy phase of DTAO reached 0.2, which is a 20x from now for this subnet. And I kind of feel like their website is super professional. I haven't seen any website like that. Their plug and play is amazing. They're offering free stuff right now, so that's amazing on their end. And they're just blowing out the water their competitors at the moment, such as Subnet 8 PTN or like Subnet 88 Investing or Mantis 123. I don't even know if these subnets have a website. The answer is probably no. So within the signal trading and predictive niche inside of DTAO, this subnet is definitely my favorite one. So I am a strong buyer for now, but I haven't purchased yet. This is something I'll announce in my private Discord, when I do much more research and I figure out how much I'll allocate. So guys, I hope you listened to everything. You took some notes because guys, the subnet market is super young. You need to be on GitHub. You need to be on all these different Bittensor tools to actually understand the subnet ecosystem to make a killing, because that's what it's about on this channel. We need to be early. We need to be ahead of the competition. So we need to be head into our books and analyze all kinds of different subnets to catch the next ridges. That's what it's all about. Catch the next 100x. So there will be a link to their website. I highly advise, if you're a trader, go plug and play with their free tools. And hopefully by the end of this video, I've helped you carve out your own gut feeling as to, is this a good investment for you? Obviously, nothing I say is financial advice. Investing in subnets is super risky. I often lose money when I invest in subnets, so be very careful and only invest what you're ready to fully lose. If you want me to cover a specific subnet or something that you didn't understand, or you have a question, or you want me to make another mining guide, feel free to comment down below. And with that being said, I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.